Expecting that surge potentially at the end of April for probably Marion County first, based on their numbers, and then other parts of the state in the first couple of weeks of May.
Managing that surge, managing that peak has to do with us, you, me, us, together.
Governor Eric Holcomb saying Hoosiers should not let their guard down and that the next couple of weeks are the most important. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Sanchez.
And I'm Brooke Martin. An end may be in sight for the state's stay-at-home order. Governor Eric Holcomb today possibly hinting at a possible time frame to end some of the restrictions. News 8's Jenny Drasler begins our live coverage tonight. Jenny.
Brooke and Phil, that's the question on everybody's mind, is when can things get back to this new normal? When can things reopen up again? And the good news today, Governor Holcomb said, because of how quickly the Indiana responded, we're already starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
We're still in the woods, but the good news is that we can see the clearing ahead.
A moment of hope for Hoosiers came Monday. Governor Eric Holcomb announced he'll take a closer look at tweaks to his stay-at-home order by this Friday.
The numbers that we see coming through in the next 5 days, 6, 7, that we'll be able to project or predict what will happen because of those today through Friday, will determine what tweaks are made. Whether it's in terms of escalation or de-escalation.
Right now, Indiana's stay-at-home order is set to expire in 1 week, while Marion County's will last until May 1st. Much of that timeline depends on when the state sees peak cases. Dr. Christina Box says the surge is still coming.
I don't want to give an exact date, but we're kind of looking at the last week of April into the first couple of weeks of May with regards to Marion County and then other sites across the state of Indiana.
Governor Holcomb reiterated numerous times the decision of when to start reopening will be a data-driven decision. And once that does happen, the governor says life won't be the same.
It'll be different. It'll be a different scenario, a new normal. There'll be different standards in terms of hygiene and cleanliness, and some that will have to wear masks, etc.
Governor Holcomb said Indiana's quick defense against COVID-19 has made for a good offense, one he says will likely come before other states that didn't act quick enough. In the meantime, he asks Hoosiers to continue to hunker down.
What we don't want to do is come up short or relax at the wrong time and then see another wave come back. You talk about all of the sacrifices that Hoosiers have made. We don't want to go through this or make a call prematurely and go through this again.
Now, in a tweet today, President Donald Trump said that it's ultimately his decision, the White House's decision, on when each individual state can open back up. Governor Holcomb said today that he is working on the White House on when that can be done for here in Indiana. Live downtown, Jenny Drasler, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
All right, Jenny, thanks so much. New tonight, the Indianapolis City County Council has approved an additional $2 million to the budget for elections. So the money will be used for mailing absentee applications, a rent of express vote machines, and other equipment for the 2020 elections. A statement from Mayor Joe Hogstead's office says this will ensure the voting process is as efficient and secure as possible. During today's news conference, the governor also said we can expect an update on upcoming elections soon.
Well, there's a growing number of coronavirus cases in nursing homes in the state. Wish TV has learned that Cumberland Trace Nursing Home in Plainfield has at least 11 residents that have tested positive and are now quarantined. The commissioner of the Indiana State Department of Health, Dr. Christina Box, recently said these long-term health care facilities account for 15% of deaths statewide.
Our strike teams have engaged with nearly 200 facilities and have tested nearly 600 people. And this includes residents of long-term care facilities, residential facilities, group homes, and correctional facilities. Of those tested, 191 came back positive, with nearly 170 of those being among our long-term care residents.
A strike team has been to Cumberland Trace at least once. A person familiar with the facility says there is a lack of personal protective equipment for the staff there. Meanwhile, a man who has been a fixture in Washington Township for more than 30 years has lost his fight with COVID-19. Paul Logan was the athletic director at North Central High School.
Yeah, we spoke with his son last week as students and even rivals were reaching out in support. News 8's Dan Klein joins us now live outside the stadium where the lights are on in his honor. Dan.
Yeah, and it's a gesture being repeated at stadiums like this one all over the state and even into neighboring states. Michael Logan tells me it's the support from the community which has made just an unbelievable situation a little more bearable. And there's comfort knowing that even in death, his dad's legacy lives on.
Hey, Mr. Logan, it's Jasmine.
We're all thinking about you.
Thank you for being the best.
From athletes
Thank you to you, Mr. Logan.
to the band playing the fight song to rally people to fight a different rival, the spread of COVID-19. To the lights on the stadium left on all night long, honoring athletic director Paul Logan. Hundreds coming out for a man who bled red, white, and black since 1988. Most telling the teens, one by one, bringing themselves and their signs to their school, which has been locked for weeks.
We're so proud to call him our dad. We were fortunate enough to be our dad. There's a lot of kids out there that he was their father figure, and they didn't have the privilege to call him dad, but he was there for them whenever he could be.
The Easter miracle hoped for by the Logan family was not to be. A phone call at 1:40 in the afternoon, the exact opposite. Paul dying minutes earlier, 11 days after being dropped off at the hospital.
He's at peace now and no longer in pain, which is ultimately, it's what he needs to be, and he's not suffering anymore.
Still, he fought on till the end, even a week beyond his 57th birthday, the previous Sunday, when it looked like he might just have hours left. A week more for his family to get countless messages of thoughts and prayers.
Just the support of the community behind us, it's been overwhelming, and we can't thank them enough.
Now, Michael's message, similar to sports agent and family friend Buddy Baker, who lost both parents to the coronavirus on March 31st after 51 years of marriage, just 6 minutes apart. And as it turned out, the same day as Paul Logan's last at home.
It can happen to anyone, and you sit at home thinking, oh, it won't happen to me, but oh, it happens, and it happens fast. And value your time with the loved ones, because you never know when it could come to an end.
And while Paul's time on earth has come to an end, it's clear his impact on others is just beginning. And it won't be forgotten. One sign, one video.
I just want to thank you for everything.
One note at a time.
That's one thing I would like to tell everyone is just keep your heads up no matter what happens. The sun will shine another day.
But for now, the only thing shining are the bright lights here at North Central and at other fields where people have been touched by Paul Logan, both at rival schools like Lawrence North and Carmel, as well as far-flung places like Mishawaka and even into Cincinnati. Because of health concerns, there will be no funeral for Paul Logan, but Michael tells me when things get back to normal, there will be a celebration of life, because his dad was adamant that if anything happened to him, he didn't want anyone to be sitting around and crying. He wanted them to have a good time. Reporting live in North Central, Dan Klein, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook.
Seems like he had a big impact on those kids, Dan. Thank you very much. The state health department is reporting 7 new deaths from the coronavirus. That brings the state's total to 350. That state also added more than 330 cases as Indiana is getting close to now 9,000 positive cases. Indiana has tested more than 44,000 people so far, Brooke.
Well, new data shows the racial breakdown of COVID-19 cases across the state. Let's take a look at those numbers. Right now, white Hoosiers make up about 50% of the cases. Black Hoosiers make up about 20% of the cases, but they only make up about 10% of the state's population. So there's a discrepancy there. Researchers say several factors are worth looking at.
A lot of the deaths are due to a variety of factors, not simply health-related. And so the sooner we can come together and coalesce around that, the sooner we can probably help address some of the disparate outcomes.
Officials say while we are working to stop the spread, this could be valuable information for someone to perhaps take even more safety measures. Well, new tonight, the Treasury Department says it will send stimulus checks to 80 million people this week. If you have filed your tax return and authorized direct deposit, you're most likely to see money dropped into your account soon. Treasury officials say most eligible Americans will receive their payments within the next 2 weeks. People who do not file tax returns can enter their information on the Internal Revenue Service's website. Taxpayers who do file but don't use direct deposit will be able to enter their bank information later this week. Well, our